Okay, continuing. So another kingdom within the domain Eukarya, you have the fungi or fungi. Wait, I'll just accept some new people. So they are a very diverse group of organisms. So they cannot make their own food, so they're heterotrophic. And since they can uh, absorb nutrients, so they just absorb nutrients, small food particles. So that's called saprozoic. Okay, so you have both microscopic and macroscopic fungi. So, syempre, yung macroscopic fungi, you have mushrooms, which we eat. So, we have also the medically significant, uh, well, you have the first antibiotic that was created through penicillin. So, that's a fungi as well. So, you call diseases caused by fungi, you call them mycosis. So let's look at the important fungi. Okay, so the pathogenic fungi are opportunistic. So kung mahina lang yung immune system mo, saka siya ano, saka siya magko-cause ng severe disease, no? So for the most part, our body's defenses can fight off fungal infections. And fungi act as decomposers in the environment. So, ano yan, makikita mo yun sa fruits, di ba? Yung mga fruit na nakastore lang sa isang place, eventually, they will have fungal growth and then they will decompose. Fungi is also important in making food like yung sa beverage then we have alcohol. It's created by yeast. So bread also, some cheeses are made by fungi. And they are also a major source of antibiotics. So they produce chemicals that can kill the bacteria. So example is penicillin, which again targets the production of the peptidoglycan in bacteria. So that comes from the fungus penicillium. So one example of fungi is mold. So mold is made up of filaments. So yung thread-like parts ng molds, you call that hyphae or singular hypha. So yung mga thread-like structures na yan, they will form a network. So pag makapal na yung combination ng hyphae mo, you have now the mycelium. Okay, and then you form the body, which is the thallus of the fleshy fungi. So in fungi, there are two types of hyphae. You have the you have the ones that have no divisions. You call that conocytic hyphae or non-septate hyphae. So these hyphae they do not have divisions, so they lack walls and cell membranes between the cells. And the other type is the ones where you have segments. So you call this septate hyphae. So there you have walls between the cells. Okay, so yeast, ito yung since early in humans history, ito yung mga first organisms na ginamit natin to produce other types of beverage. So dahil dyan, na-discover yung paggawa ng wine at saka beer at saka bread. Okay, so how do they reproduce? They can reproduce asexually. It can be by budding. So asymmetric division ng cell, no? So may part lang ng cell na magbe-break off and then it will be an independent uh, cell entirely. They may also stick together. The resulting cells may stick together and form a short chain called a pseudo hypha. Okay, so these are examples of hyphae. So pag may septate hyphae ka, kita mo may divisions between the cells. Pag conocytic or non-septate hyphae, walang divisions between the cells. Sa yeast cells, so nagko-combine yung mga unicellular organisms, so they just form a pseudo hyphae. Okay, so yung fungi nga yan, meron silang complicated life cycle. So they have more than one appearance during their life cycle. So you call that dimorphic. So dimorphic fungi may be able to appear as yeast or molds. So this is important for infectivity. But if there are fluctuations in temperature or nutrient ability, they may change in form. So ideally, yung mga yeast cells, they grow at around body temperature ng tao, 37 degrees. Yung mold, 25 degrees. So napapansin nyo, mas pag cold region, no? Pag taglamig tayo, pag ano, December, hindi agad na nakakaamag ang mga tinapay. Pero pag summer, mapapansin mo mabilis umamag ang tinapay ba kasi above 25 degrees yung temperature. Two examples of the dimorphic yeast, you have Histoplasma capsulatum. So this is responsible for the lung disease histoplasmosis. Okay? Itong Candida albicans, this is responsible for oral thrush. So pag sa bibig nangyari, nagkaroon ka ng yeast infection, we call it an oral thrush. May mga white patches sa tongue, sa mouth mo. Pag sa vagina, we call that vaginal yeast infection. Pag sa skin naman, you have candidiasis of the skin. So example nito yung Histoplasma capsulatum. So again, dimorphic means more than you have two forms. So they grow in the soil and exposed to bird feces or bat feces. So in order to survive, it can change form. So pag wala pa sa host, it typically grows as a mycelium. So pag na-inhale yung spores, So, tamang-tama sa temperature niya, they will turn into yeast that can multiply in the lungs. So, this is what causes histoplasmosis. Regarding their cell wall, so you have chitin, no? So, pinag-aralan na natin yung structure sa biochemistry. So, it's similar to, it's still a carbohydrate. So the fungal cell membranes have different sterols called ergosterols. So uh, we this is often used as targets for antifungal drugs para para mamatay yung mga fungus, mga fungicides. They will target these sterols para maapektuhan yung production ng cell membrane. So yung fungi mo, they can reproduce sexually either through cross or self-fertilization. So meron siyang two forms, no? So hindi yung usual na male or female, you have the plus or minus type. So you have the two mating types represented as plus or minus. So again, pag sinabi mong haploid, you have n set of chromosomes. In contrast with the diploid na may 2n set of chromosomes ka. So haploid fungi form hyphae that have gametes at the tips. So in fungi, you have three phases of sexual reproduction. So yun nga, may plus and minus form ka. So when they fuse, so haploid yan pareho, no? So when they combine, again, it will be diploid. So the process is called plasmogamy. And in the process, you produce a cell with two distinct nuclei, otherwise called as a dikaryotic cell. Okay, so the nuclei will fuse. You form event is called karyogamy, and now you have a diploid zygote. Okay, so diploid na siya, no? Pag nag-undergo ng meiosis, so magiging haploid ulit siya. So you form spores, and this may germinate, and it will start the whole process again. So haploid stage naman siya. So this eventually creates more haploid mycelia. So let's look at the typical life cycle of the class Zygomycetes. Okay, so let's start with the germination. So you form the mycelia with the two types, the plus and the minus. So they create extensions called the gametangia between them. Okay, sorry. So yun mag-mate sila, you form the gametangia. So again, the mycelia is haploid or 1N. So the fusion, since pareho silang haploid, you will form magko-form ka muna ng zygosporangium. So this will have multiple haploid nuclei. So you form a thick protective coat. So the haploid cells, they will fuse. So the nuclei will fuse to form the zygote. Okay? So babalik siya sa diploid. Diploid na siya. So the zygote is now 2N. And then the whole process repeats itself na magdi-divide naman tong diploid, magiging haploid through meiosis. Okay? So tandaan yung meiosis is related to making the gametes or the sex cells. So as sporangium grows on a short stalk, haploid spores are formed inside. So ayun, meron ka na namang mga spores. So for most of the life cycle ng mga fungi, they are haploid. No? So magiging spores, they can undergo mitosis, so they can form mycelia again. So this is the asexual phase of their reproduction. So yung nakita natin sa zygomycota, no? So you can have sexually produced spores in zygomycota. In ascospore, you can have ascospores and basidiospores. So the fungi can divide through mitosis. So that's just the division of the cell. So mitosis with budding, meaning asymmetric division of the cell. So you have the smaller daughter cell becoming an independent cell. You can have fragmentation of the hyphae, or you can have uh, the mitosis of these asexual spores. Okay, so for most of their life cycle, the fungi is haploid, and they can exhibit several types of asexual spores, and this can be used for classification. Okay, so kita natin dito, this is a micrograph, you have the sporangium, the hyphae. So dito sa letter B, ito yung example ng bread mold, no? So kita natin yung sporangia. So mukha siyang white fuzz. So by the way, no, bago pa magkaroon ng molds yan, pag lasang maasim na, ibig sabihin nag-grow na yung nung ano mga hyphae nung mold, no? So kahit wala pa kayo nakikitang mold na yan, that's actually the visible part. So ang ginagawa ng mga iba, no, tinatanggal nila yung part na yan. Pero yung lasa ng bread iba na, di ba, maasim. Ibig sabihin nag-grow na yung mold na dun sa bread. So kahit wala kayong nakikita, the whole loaf has mycelium na. Okay? So di naman lahat ng mold ng bread masama, no? If di naman to nakaka-cause ng disease except um in fact yung some nga, yung ibang molds nga naging penicillin, they're actually healthy, no? So you can actually toast this bread if you want. Tanggalin niyo yung mold. Pwede, pero iba nga yung lasa ng bread. So if you toast it, it will not cause any disease. You're basically gonna kill the organism. Okay, so ano naman, pag iba na yung lasa ng bread, pag medyo maasim-asim na, alam mo na na meron ng nagfo-form na yung mold doon sa bread. Hindi nyo lang kita yung sporangia, pero na nagkaka-mold na yung bread, kumbaga. So ito yung tip sporangium. Okay, so the fungi, these are very diverse. So yung pinaka-importante, you have medically important or clinically important, since we're going to talk about the benefits and the pathogens of these fungi. You have the microsporidia, Basidiomycota, which are the mushrooms, Ascomycota, so you have also edible fungus there, like a black fungus. You have a Zygomycota. The others, these are not clinically significant, Neocalymastigum mycota, Chytridio mycota, and Glomeromycota. Okay, so itong Glomeromycota, it has a mutualistic relationship with plant roots, so it cannot live on its own, no? So it is a symbiont with plant roots, so they can help in the growth of the plant. So para siyang additional helps sa root system. So they're obligate symbionts, and they cannot survive without the plant roots. So they receive carbohydrates from the plant, and then the fungi will take up nutrients and minerals from the soil and help the plant absorb it. Chytridio mycota, these are small fungi and also ecological important. No? So they are decomposers. So you can find them in water bodies. So they have flagellated and motile gametes. Sige, punta tayo sa mga clinically significant fungi like Zygomycota. So saprophytes, they absorb nutrients. So walang division yung hyphae nila. So you have coinocytic hyphae and haploid nuclei. For asexual reproduction, they use sporangiospores. And kaya siya named Zygomycota is because of the spores that they form called the zygospores that they use for sexual reproduction. So these are important for food science and crop pathogens. So some bread mold like Rhizopus stolonifera. So yan rin nagkakos ng sickness sa rice seedlings. Mucor is a genus of fungi that can potentially cause necrotizing infection in humans. So many species are intolerant of temperatures. Mataas masyado yung temperature sa mammalian body, so they will die. So Ascomycota, you have fungi, you have edible mushrooms, truffles, yan yung mga rare na fungi inhunt pa sa forest. So they are also the common cause of food spoilage, bread molds, and plant pathogens. So example nga yung sa thrust or vaginal yeast infection, Candida albicans. So under Ascomycota, meron na tong mga divisions sa cell walls nila. So you have a septate hyphae, and you have a cup-shaped fruiting body called ascocarps. So they may produce sexually, produce ascospores, and asexual spores called conidia. So you have also the structure, the ascospore, which contains the ascospores within an ascocarp. So ito yung example ng ascospores. So ito yung structure ng ascus mo. So ito yung aspergillus. So this is a toxic fungus. Ito sa letter C, ito yung causative agent ng vaginal yeast infection or sa mouth oral thrush. Okay, so here you can see in the microscope, you see these ascospores. lined up within an ascus. So these are uh, produced sexually. Okay, let's look at the life cycle. Okay, so let's study the life cycle of ascomycetes. So the first part is mitosis and plasmogamy. So when you divide asexually, that is mitosis. So you're maintaining the number of chromosomes that you have when you divide in mitotic division. Okay, so that's called you. So you have the ascodium and the antheridium that will fuse. So you will eventually you have cell division. You form dikaryotic hyphae. So eventually you'll form the ascocarp. So the ASCII forms at the tips of the hyphae. Okay. So ito yung mangyayari. Ito yung ascus mo. So in sexual reproduction, you have karyogamy. So the nuclei in the ASCII fuse to form the zygote. Okay? So from haploid magiging diploid na siya. And then it will undergo meiosis. So this will form again from diploid magiging haploid siya. You will have it will undergo cell division again. 8 haploids ascospores will be formed. Eventually, you have dispersal and germination. Okay, so this mycelia can undergo mitosis, and you form spores again, and then another pathway nga is through plasmogamy and mitosis here. So this is the life cycle of the ascomycete. So aspergillus, so it's an important pathogen. So it can cause allergy infection. So they're useful in research and in the production of certain fermented alcoholic beverages. So sake is made through this. So it's also a contaminant of nuts and stored grains. So it can produce an aflatoxin that is both a toxin and most potent known natural carcinogen. Okay, so maraming mga species ang important. You have the Trichophyton uh, under the genus Trichophyton microsporum, Epidermophyton. So these are the dermatophytes. So they will cause skin infection, no? So ito yung nagkakos ng athlete's foot. So yung makati yung paa nyo pag hindi nyo uh, laging nakasocks, hindi nyo, laging napapawisan. So, ano yan, common siya sa mga kaya tinatawag na athlete's foot, no? Laging naka-socks, di nag-ano, namamawis. So, eventually, makati yung, ano, yung, lalo na yung in between the toes and, ano, yung foot. Also, the jock itch and ringworm. So, the ringworm is not actually a worm, it's a fungal infection. Okay, another species that can cause infection. You have the blastomyces uh, dermatitis. So again, you have two forms. That's why it's dimorphic, and it can cause blastomycosis, which is an infection that affects the respiratory system. So this can be brought to other body sites, and it may lead to death. Another species, you have Coccidioides immitis. So this can cause the serious lung disease, valley fever. Okay, so this ascomycetes. So this is commonly associated with the pathogens in plants, especially pag ano yung tropical yung climate. So you have uh, powdery mildews. This can also cause Dutch elm disease and ergot infection. So yung yeast, you have cerevisiae. So these are unicellular ascomycetes with haploid and diploid stages. Okay, let's go now to Basidio mycota. So these are fungi that have basidia. So club-shaped structures. So mas prominent yung club-shaped structures dito. So mushrooms na to, mas malaki. They produce basidious spores and within fruiting bodies called basidiocarps. They're important as decomposers and as food. Okay? So kasama yung mushroom, puffballs, stinkhorns, and rust. So these are important.